All right, so this is Poor Charlie's Almanack. So I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. It's a pretty dense book. There's a lot of content in it, but I got it for Christmas this year. If you like business stuff, you'll like this book. I'm just going to talk a little bit about just a quick overview of the book. But if you know Alex Hormozy always references this dude, Charlie Munger. And if you like Alex Hormozy, you want to know where he's getting his information from. So I picked up this book, and it's basically 11 talks from Charlie Munger. And they're talks he's given at mainly colleges. And the crazy thing about this dude is he's an investor. He's Warren Buffett's partner. And he uses mental models. So mental models are not necessarily something you memorize, but it's something you understand and you can apply to different situations. Now, his big idea is that you need to be multidisciplinary. That's one of his main points throughout the book. And what that means is, for example, he says, for someone who only has a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. Let me re-say that. For someone who only has a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And so you want to avoid being stuck in one discipline and only taking things from one construct. You want to be really well-rounded, okay? This guy, he's Warren Buffett's partner, all right? I mean, that speaks for itself. He takes a lot of his info from Benjamin Franklin. So if you want to go way back, Ben Franklin's someone to read up on. I haven't really delved into that guy yet, but I want to read one of his biographies. Another thing, Charlie Munger says he reads a fuck ton. He reads a shit ton. People know Charlie for always being reading. Also, side note, the cover, this is one of my favorite covers ever. Incredible book. It is a little hard to understand. I mean, it's not hard to understand, and each talk is different. But if you're not familiar with investments and stuff, this could be a little bit confusing. But nonetheless, if you're interested in investing, this is an awesome book. What I've noticed, though, I referenced the book, The Almanack of Naval Ravikant, whatever the hell. I've noticed that Naval takes almost all of his mental models from Charlie Munger, and the root of it is probably Ben Franklin. That's where Charlie got all of his stuff. But if you want to know how to make great decisions, it's an awesome book. I mean, it really is. Just to circle back on some other points that Charlie makes. Again, this is one that's kind of stuck with me. He always talks about being objective. So you want to think through things that you're doing as if, let's say you're having a conversation with someone. You want to almost step outside of that conversation. Imagine you're someone observing the conversation from the balcony above. What would your perception be of that conversation? That's where I think I said that in a video before, but that's where I got it from. And one of the most powerful things you can do is step into someone else's shoes and understand their perspective, because people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So you can really get people to open up if you can get on their side, sit on their side of the table, and even if it stings a little bit to admit that you understand them, you've got to do it. That's something I've learned. Objectivity. I try to say the things that sting a little bit, the things that might hurt your ego. I like to say those things and just practice intense humility and objectivity. So, quick review on Poor Charlie's Almanack. I mean, I haven't, this is something you got to read a lot of times, to be honest. It uses some complex ideas. Oh, invert. He always talks about inverting. So when making a decision, this is the last point I'll make, but when making a decision, sometimes it's hard to think about what you should do, but it's really easy to eliminate what you shouldn't do. Humans are pretty good at saying what they don't want to do. And so to start there, it's a great starting point. So let's say, perfect example would be you're with your girlfriend, with your family, and they say, what are we eating for dinner tonight? I think everyone can think about what they don't want. And so if everyone just goes around and says, well, I don't want Wendy's, I don't want Taco Bell, and I don't want ravioli. And then it's like, okay, so now we've got all these other options. It's much easier to think about what you don't want to do. So, quick review on Poor Charlie's Almanack. If this was something you were thinking about picking up, you're a business guy. I mean, the way I see books, man, books can make you, even one certain idea in a book could make you a bunch of money and change your life. So I don't see why you wouldn't fucking buy a book. So that's my idea. Poor Charlie's Almanack. Have a good night, gang.